Alright, what's up guys? Sitting here playing a 6-max no limit game with the rest of the Stocks Poker crew. We decided to do this video. Hopefully we'll have all the hole cards up and you can kind of see the dynamics of an aggressive 6-max game, and it'll be fun too. I intend to punish everyone at the table. I've kind of been kidding them. Been running my mouth, so if I get beat, it's going to be bad news. Alright, I got Poker Ace running. And it should be importing hands, so we'll have stats on the rest of the guys here shortly, hopefully. Alright, so I got Ace 10 from the hijack. I'm going to open it up, pot size raise. And I get 3-bet by Bryce here, which I have no idea how this game's going to go. It may be turned into just a hyper-aggressive match. So we'll just see. I'm going to play fairly tight, start out, fill it out, and really just see what happens. I was kidding Bryce earlier. I told him it's no limits, just like heads-up limit. Never fold. Yep, and it looks like this game's going to play super aggressive. And if that's the case, then we'll just have to adjust and keep going. Alright, King 4. If Leather would have raised that one, I'd have probably just pitched it. I might defend there. But again, I'm going to start off pretty conservative, see what happens. So I get Ace 3 off here. I'm definitely not playing this one out of position. Alright, wow. Everyone calls, except for me. I feel like the nit at the table now. Alright, so let's check to Bryce. And he pots it. And Leather ass just instantly shoves. Yeah, I expected a draw from him there. A monster draw, which he hits on the turn. And takes down a pot. I kind of figured when he made such a big shove, he was trying to get the money in on the flop. Well, I'm trying to run my mouth in the chat box, but apparently I'm unsuccessful in typing. There we go. Alright, so I got King Deuce here. I'm just going to pitch it. So what I may do is, since I've got Leather on my right with a deep stack, if I can find a spot where I can shove, and I may even take a gamble where I know I'm taking the worst of it, see if I can't double up and play a deep stack on Leather ass's left, just to be a real pain, because I think it'll be fun. But we'll see. If I can get a draw, I may stick it in, or a gamble with a hand and see if I can't double up and get after it. Alright, so let's take a look at this one. I think I was kind of talking, wasn't paying attention. I got 6-5 off here and pitching it. Actually, excuse me, I'm not supposed to throw the hand histories up there. I think that'll affect the hole cards, so I apologize for that, guys. On my end of the video, I forgot I wasn't supposed to do that. But looks like Jack's open and then just fired 3 barrels, I believe. I'm trying to find the hand history now. Full tilt hand history. Replayer always tilts me really hard. Alright, Nick, open limps or stocks open limps under the gun. I'm curious to see what he's going to be doing that with. He may be trying to limp re-race here. Yep, and everyone limps, and I'm just going to check my ace-5 here. Alright, flop middle pair. I am actually just going to check here. Playing check and fold. I got good aggressive players behind me. They may be raising me with a wide range, and just really can't play this one out of position against tough players. It's going to be next to impossible. So I'm just going to check and fold it. You know, that might be a little weak, but it keeps me out of a bad spot on later streets, which is definitely what I'm going for. All right, so I'm going to raise up my 5-7 off. Just going to raise pot here. And I really wouldn't be shocked if I get 3-bet by just a super wide range. And it didn't. And stocks just calls. I'm going to bet 8 into 11 here. And if I get raised, I'm not going to continue with the hand. He calls. I'm going to actually I think I'm still good here. To be perfectly honest, the question is how I'm going to play the river if I bet. And yeah, actually I'm going to bet 19. I think he can peel pretty wide here. And if the river breaks off, I'm definitely going to check and fold it. I take it down. So we got king queen off, and there's a raise under the gun. And if it's folded to me, I'm going to go ahead and 3-pop it. And it is, so I'm going to jack it up to the pot here. And if I flop top pair, I'll be getting in. Definitely be playing for stacks. I'm 4-bet here. I'm going to fold. Now this is not a good board to fire c-bet out on. I really think this is going to hit a lot of his range, and he leads out into me, which is unfortunate. I could jam it here as a stone cold bluff, but I'm just going to pitch the hand. Well, I guess you could say semi-bluff, assuming that but I probably only have 3.5 outs on average when called there, if that many. So it's pretty much a stone cold bluff. But on boards like that, I'm not gonna be c-betting there much because I really think that I'm gonna get check raised so often just because of how much of the range it hits. So stocks open the button, we get 3-bet from jacks, and stocks calls him. Jacks leads out for a smallish bet at 24. I guess that would probably be like 5/8 a pot. And this should have hit stocks is re-raising or calling range there pretty heavy, I would imagine. So I don't know if this is a bet to induce. So now we got a little bit of information that he's going to lead out there weak and on a kind of a nasty board and bet fold there. Actually, my HUD stats aren't coming. I think I need to adjust them so they'll come up instead of every. I probably have it set for 10 hand average, and I'm gonna drop that down to 5 hands, and hopefully we can start getting some information from Poker Ace here. And then the HUD just completely disappears, so that is... Wait, here it comes back. That was... Alright, so leather ass 3-bets and then checks the flop. We're on a relatively dry board. That's a pretty good board to c-bet on. So I really suspect that he's going to have some kind of hand here. He might have something. I would really expect him ace king or better here. However, he very well may have jacks or tens, a hand of similar strength there. I suspect that's going to be a big hand. He flop top pair and gets looked up by tens. So that's something else to keep in mind as well. Both of those players, we got to see a showdown there, so we got some decent information. All right, got 6-4 suited here. Not going to play this against stocks under the gun raising range. I got king 4 off, and this is a pretty junky hand, but I'm going to open it up because, quite frankly, I haven't played a hand, and I want to raise one. So that's as good as any right there. I get deuce 9, that's just uber trash, and it's getting pitched. Alright, we get a raise to 10 from the small blind, which is interesting. That's definitely an overbet. And Bryce immediately comes back with a re-raise. That's probably a pot size re-raise, maybe actually a little less than pot. Alright, so I get ace deuce and have to fold, which is unfortunate, because I hate folding. Alright, so that was a slightly less than pot re-raise. Always try to note people's how much they bet and betting pattern, just any information I can glean from the raise size, or just, you know, timing tails, etc. I'm always looking for. Alright, we got a raise and a re-raise. I'm actually going to 3-bet this one up to 60. And my logic for this is that Jackson be open up light, and Bryce can definitely be 3-betting him light as well. So I think my 4-bet's going to scream strength, and I should be able to take this down pre-flop a good percentage of the time. If I get shoved on here, it's pretty gross, and I definitely have to fold. But I don't expect that Bryce's shoving range is going to be light here at all, considering how much strength I've showed. That's a play I like to make occasionally. It definitely works in really aggressive games when you got guys opening light and 3-betting light. Because I like to 3-bet there, or 4-bet there with aces, kings, ace king, my monster hands. And if I'm always doing it with aces, kings, and ace king, then I'm giving away money by not also doing it with more speculative hands. Preferably, I would not have a hand like king queen. I would much prefer something like 7-8 suited. However, you know, the opportunity, I didn't have 7-8 suited there, and I just used the opportunity and the cards I had. So, but that's kind of spots I look for. You know, more kind of suited connector types hands. King queen is a little more speculative in that spot, I should say. Alright, so stocks 3-bets leather ass out of the big blind and leads for less than half pot. and takes it down. Alright, I'm going to fold my king 5. It's still not, the HUD's still not picking up stats, so that's unfortunate. I'm not sure really why. I have so much trouble getting Poker Ace to work with full tilt, and I don't really know the cause of it. But every day it seems like when I open it up, there's some glitch or some error. It may just be me and my total ineptitude with computers. Alright, 5-4. I was going to fold it, but I'm actually going to open it up. I'm going to get 3-bet here. I'm going to go ahead and 4-bet to 66. I think Nick's re-raising range here is pretty huge, since he knows I can be opening light. My hand really has no ability to play post-flop, so I'm going to try to 4-bet and take it down. However, he may give me a little less credit since I've 4-bet earlier. That's the second one I've shown. Yeah, and he shoves on me. He very well may just have a hand. But, you know, obviously I can't continue. So I'm going to Hollywood for a bit here. And fold it. But there's really no sense in Hollywood in there. These guys know that I had a plan when I 4-bet, so I don't think it really matters. All right, yeah, I reloaded. All right, so I get queens, raise it up. Unfortunately, I don't get any action. I get 5-9 suited, folding that out of the small blind. I'd have called there with just a slightly better hand. If you give me like 6-8 suited, 5-7 suited, 3-4 suited, I'd have probably taken a flop. Not closing the action, it makes it a little less, or a little worse, since stocks can be 3-betting there, and that's going to kill some of the value of my hand. All right, now we got the HUDs opening up. We can kind of take a look at it. Alright, so I played 24-24 so far in this match. I just pulled up Poker Tracker, checked it out. Colin definitely looks like he's playing the laggiest of us so far, playing 41-38, and then Matt's playing a pretty laggy game. But that could just be due to the distribution of the cards, and I don't have. This is all the hands I have on stock, so I'm not exactly sure what he's playing this particular session. He's playing 34-25. I just looked it up in Poker Tracker, so that'll give you a general idea. Alright, so I'm going to pitch that, a 7-9 off. Alright, so Matt's really opening up a good bit of pots in late position, so was Colin. They're attempted to steal so far over 29 hands is 50. Alright, so I got 10-3 off. Bryce opens and pitching it here. Alright, so I got ace-9 here, and that's a min raise. I'm not really sure what to make of that. So I'm just going to pitch my hand. And that's a hand you're just going to get in trouble with post-flop. Alright, so it's min raised, and then Nick calls the min raise. And Colin bets 7 into 850 here. And we as you've noticed in the chat box, we're giving them a hard time about being tourney dogs. Alright, he instantly folds, and when Nick leads out on that card. I get deuce 4, open it up for a raise. I've been playing pretty aggressive from the button. I'm sure these guys have noticed, and I wouldn't be surprised if I get 3-bet line, to be perfectly honest with you. But hopefully, when I do pick up a hand around late position, I can get some action from it. Alright, 8-10 off, I'm going to pitch in. Alright, so we got a 3-bet and a call. Colin leads 40 into 54. He's been playing pretty aggressively so far. Be interesting to see what Nicky likes to do here. And he raises a little more than min. Which that puts I really like Nick's bet sizing here. That puts Colin in just a nasty spot, and it's a real cheap bluff as well. Alright, so I got 10-6 under the gun. That's definitely a fold. Alright, we got a 4-bet from Leather in the big blind after Bryce 3-bets Collins open. And Leather seems to be playing pretty tight so far. He may be decided to play tight initially and then open it up as we go. And then conversely, these guys may be doing the opposite. So we'll see. It's always fun to play in games against good players, although it's not always good for the bankroll, but it is fun. And I do think it's important to. All right, guys, I'm having some network problems. It looks like I've gotten booted from Full Tilt. I'm not exactly sure the problem, so I apologize for this. It looks like I just got booted right off my wireless network. I do not know the cause of that. And it looks like I'm back up and running now. Hopefully this did not interfere with the video too terribly bad, and maybe Full Tilt can pick me back up. Although it seems like every time I get disconnected from it, it takes forever to actually get the video back up and running. Or excuse me, not video, but the game back up and running, or the tables back up and running. Alright, I'm good to go. And I've completely lost train of thought on my last point. Oh yeah. It was about playing in tougher games, and I like to do that. I'll pull up one or two tables occasionally. You know, I've definitely not a significant portion of my playing. It's very, very minimal, maybe a couple hundred hands a month at the most. And playing tougher games and mostly for experience. All right, I got 10-6 suited. Leather's attempt to steal is 28. He's been playing fairly tight, but I'm going to come after him here. And Nick shoves over me, which sucks. I got to call 70 in the 125, which means I'm getting less than 2-1. So I'm going to have on average 33%. Well, you know, even worse than that. I'm going to have 40% equity or something on average. Or excuse me, any more than that. And obviously I can't continue with my hand. Alright, so I got Jack 9 suited. Just going to pitch it. And I would have flopped Gin, basically. In an aggressive game like this, that's as close to Gin as it gets. Alright, I got 4 deuce. Definitely a fold. I got 3 deuce off. This is definitely not playable against Nick's opening range, unless I just want to 3-bet him. But that would be spewing my face off against his opening standards. All right, ace-5. That's a fold. Even though I'm obviously going to be ahead of his range in the big blind there, my hand against a guy who's going to be tough to play post flop. And with a hand that doesn't play well at all post-flop, you're just going to get some bad spots with ace-5 there. You know, even against tough players, I'll pitch even better aces than that. It's just a way to just stay out of trouble, out of position, because he's going to be 3-betting me really wide. My hand doesn't play well at post-flop in a raise spot, so I'd have to my only option there is fold or 4-bet, which I would be doing some of the time. But even post-flop, when an ace comes, I'm not only going to be getting action from hands I beat or bluffs, and it's just going to be really tough to play that hand well. Alright, got King 8 suited. I'm going to bring it in for a raise here in a 7. And I take it down, which is not a bad result. And you can see that most pots are raised and re-raised. And there's a call from Leatherass there, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if he's slow playing a monster hand or is getting cute with something like 9s or 8s or a mid pair. I don't really know. Alright, so there's been a raise and a cold call, and I wouldn't be surprised if leather comes along. I'm definitely going to squeeze them. I may squeeze anyway. And yeah, I'm definitely going to come after this one. I'm going to raise it up to 28. You know, this hand, yeah, it looks just like a squeeze. So normally I like to do this with really good hands because people think you're squeezing so often. But here I chose to do it with King 5 as a squeeze, and you know, obviously I can't continue. I get 4 bet on, so I'm going to think about it for a second and fold it. I've been pretty active with my 3 bets pre-flop, but haven't even played a hand post-flop yet. So that's definitely going to take away my fold equity. Or, yeah, my fold equity, my 3 bets and 4 bets. So hopefully I can wake up with a hand here in the next few orbits and play a big pot or two. Or definitely a big re-raise pot, because I'm gonna have to wait. Because I really doubt that I'm going to be getting much respect at all. Alright, so Nick's open and gets its 3 bet by Matt here. And he just sticks it in on him. Alright, so Bryce opens from the small blind and just checks it here. I suspect he's just trying to show this one down. And Miller checks behind and then pots the turn. We'll see. If he bets on this river, I would definitely be giving him credit for a good hand. Yeah, and he bets 100 into 34, which, man, that just really, it's really interesting. I definitely think he would play a 9 like that. However, I don't think he would play too many other hands like that. So, but he's been fairly tight so far, so I wouldn't suspect his overbet to be. It may be a good time to bluff. It'd be interesting. Hopefully Bryce calls us when we get to see a showdown. But Bryce's hand's going to face up here as a weak one-pair hand. Oh, would have been totally sicko if Bryce would have check raised them all in. That would have been pretty funny. All right, so I got Queen 9 off here, and since I did raise as a squeeze last time, I very well may get more credit here. I think it called pretty quickly, and I assume Bryce is definitely going to tag along now. And he does. And flop my 9 on an ace-9-5 board. I got two guys behind me. And this flop's not a flop that's going to hit a ton of people, so I'm going to bet 58 into 76 here. You know, and I just said I was going to wait until I picked up a decent hand post-flop, but oftentimes guys don't suspect you to be doing the same thing twice. You know, I like to 3-bet guys twice in a row with there, because usually in higher stakes games, people think that if you did it once, you're likely to the next time you do it to have an actual hand. So I like to take that to the next level, and I have found so far that it works pretty good, pretty well, I should say. Already got 5-3 suited and bring this in for a raise. Raise it up to 7. Alright, this is a flop. You know, it hits my range pretty good, but it also hits Matt's fairly well too. So I'm going to be getting check raised here a pretty good bit, and there's just no way I can continue. So I'm actually just going to check this back. And now that he bets half pot here, and I really think since I checked here, I'm going to often get credit for an 8 that I played for pot control that I'll check behind here. So I'm actually going to raise this one up to 38 as a semi bluff. And if I get shoved on here, it's an easy fold. And I take it down, which is a good result. But in higher stakes games, you know, in lower stakes games, I really think that c-betting close and heads-up pots is on any board is optimal. You know, c-betting close to 100% of the times is closer to optimal. But at higher stakes games and more aggressive games and better players, they'll realize that your range is wide, and they'll start check raising you a lot on flops that, you know, are dangerous flops like that didn't really hit your hand. So over c-betting can definitely be a problem. And I think guys who are playing at the mid-limit winners, 3-6, 5-10 guys, when they move up to 10-20 and 25-50, that's usually one of their leagues, in my opinion. And it was one of my leagues for a decent amount of time before I realized that, and I had to change my ways. But also, you know, if you're c-betting, let's say if you did have a pair of 8s on the King 10-8 board, you c-bet there. The problem is, with a hand like that, you're going to just be getting, you know, like I said, if you're c-betting 100% of the time. And that's one of my stats that I have on people. As you can see, I keep continuation bet up there and to see how often guys are doing it. And I think that's a very important stat, no limit to pull up. But they'll start raising you and just put you in really nasty spots, you know. Because against a tough, aggressive player, you know, my 8, I'm going to have good equity there a lot. However, my hand's going to be really tough to play. Because if I call, you know, any fires 3 barrels, I'm not happy about that. And there's so many cards on the turn. that can come off. So I think checking behind there with some weak hands, some decent hands. I even like to check behind flush draws there, and if I get there on the turn jacket, because guys never seem to give you credit for checking behind a flush draw. So that's a little tricky trappy play I like to make occasionally. When I got jacks here, I'll definitely play for stacks with this hand if I get 3-bet. I think given with the dynamics, if Nick would have 3-bet me, I would have probably 4-bet him. If Matt would have 3-bet me, I would have probably called and seen a flop and tried to get it in on most non-ace, king, or queen boards. Just from a purely metagame perspective there. Alright, so Matt opens, calling calls pre-flop, small blind versus big blind war, and Colin raises him on this flop, which this flop, not a good flop to bluff on. These guys really aren't going to give you that much credit, in my opinion. I think you're going to get looked up light here often, or played back at it. Just because that flop it doesn't hit very many hands. And the ranges are wide, and they know that you're going to be getting. That it's not likely to hit you either. So I really like it with a 6 there, and that's just a cooler. It's kind of even a worse cooler on the river when you lose with the ace-6. But both of their play, right there in that type of situation, you flop open trips and a raising war. It looks like we're gonna stop now, guys. So.